As everyone is aware, Elon was live demonstrating FSD version 12 while driving about on X. Although it didn't appear to be that difficult, I still believe it was astonishing that Elon was brave enough to broadcast the world the raw film live without any editing or several takes. According to Elon, the FSD version 12 contains approximately 99 additional lines of code compared to the previous version. This means that it is essentially a completely new system that is based on artificial intelligence. AI. Instead of using hard code to instruct the vehicle on how to drive, it uses a neural net that has learned or is learning how to drive on its own. During the demo, we saw the vehicle slow down for speed bumps, and Elon points out that no code was written to tell the car to slow down. For speed maps, but it learned this itself. It saw that human drivers slow down when coming to speed bumps, and therefore, if that's what humans do, then that's what a Tesla should also do. It's trying to replicate human driving as best as possible by watching a lot of footage and learning from that. Elon has been speaking for some time about how FSD needs to work. It needs to be like a human. How do humans drive with their organic brain and vision, and some hearing too? This is the first version that is now working like a human. It has cameras for vision and a neural net or synthetic brain. This is a huge leap. It would seem that the previous version's progress became logarithmic, and the progress was no longer going in a fast enough direction to solve FSD soon enough. Tesla had to rethink the software and process, and here we are, a proper AI-based FSD. From here, the AI just needs to be trained to drive safer and better than a human, and able to learn from so many drivers and events. So this is the theory now. It's just a matter of time until a Tesla can drive better than a human. It just needs to learn more. And although it has already had a lot of data, the thing is the same cars that generated said data are still generating it and will continue to for the lifetime of the vehicle. In addition to that, Tesla is adding new Teslas on the road at close to a rate of 2 million a year currently. In other words, the amount of data that Tesla is going to be collecting will be increasing at an exponential rate, so the data accumulates and then compounds exponentially. Of course, we aren't really that excited with Tesla adding 2 million more vehicles to the fleet each year either. And we expect that to increase too, with Elon talking about Gen 3 vehicles selling around at 5 million a year. And if you add Cybertruck, then Berlin, and although we're far from these numbers, Mexico may be ramped around the end of 2025. If there's another factory too, then that might be ramped by around 2026. If so, Tesla could be an array of 8 million vehicles by around 2027. Texas is ramped, which means we're going to be approaching around 8 million more vehicles added into the fleet each year. Just think about how much data Tesla is collecting then. This is the limiting factor for FSD, the amount of training it gets. We hope in theory that the car will learn to drive a lot better the more data it gets, and it will not hit a logarithmic learning curve. But the level of additional data that Tesla is able to supply will keep the progress going and going until we see it become 10 times safer than a human driver, as Elon often mentions, like it's some sort of target. On top of that, though, we all have hopes for Tesla's ability to train the neural net itself with Dojo, which can hopefully throw almost an infinite level of edge cases and allegedly train FSD that much faster. But we have been hearing about Dojo for some time now. But maybe now we have version 12, then perhaps that too will come into fruition. The other limiting factor is processing power. Well, that's one thing we can guarantee, is that processing power will continue to increase and at rapid rates, just like Moore's law dictates, although there are times when processing power does increase at more rapid rates than others depending on the purpose of the chips. Now, with the entire AI movement, then we will need more processing power, so chips will likely be getting more powerful at a more exponential rate. We saw how good version 12 was, and remember, this isn't even the version that would be released to the public. So we expect it to. This is just the beginning of Tesla's new FSD, and as I just mentioned, the more dire it gets, the better it will be at driving. Then, the faster the processing power, the better it will be too. More hardware, such as higher definition cameras, Elon claimed it could handle 50 frames per second, will also help the FSD get better and better. Okay, we did witness an attempt to run a red light. I won't ignore that. It was just one intervention over about 40 minutes. But if it hadn't happened, there would have been infinitely fewer interventions. This test was conducted on hardware 3. We are confident that hardware 4 will perform even better than before, despite Elon's statement that it will take an additional 6 months to implement FSD version 12 in hardware 4. However, we would only anticipate that the upgraded hardware would have a significant impact, followed probably by a specially created robot taxi, whose real design is the best in terms of shape, placement, sides, and so on. Everything is perfect for robot taxes and FSD. Given that the neural net learned all of this by observation rather than hard coding, I found this to be incredibly impressive. However, I was astonished by how little the market seemed to care. Tesla's most recent AI FSD was not featured in any significant headlines. I was hoping for a response from the market to such a significant development, because if Tesla is going to meet the expectations of investors, it will be through FSD and further advancements like this will make it more likely that this will happen sooner rather than later. The fact that FSD is now based on AI and a neural net, and the market is rewarding AI currently, repositions Tesla as more of an AI company. Many bulls are now speculating that FSD will be sold sometime in 2024. Of course, they really have absolutely no way of knowing either. The point is that the bulls definitely think this was a major breakthrough. I'm not sure what the market is waiting for yet. Observe an increase in the AI bubble as advancements and practical applications grow. Although V12 may not have ignited a fire under the stock price, I wouldn't give up on it just yet. It will also likely mean a lot more when it is actually released to the public and we see all the YouTubers testing it out and saying how much of a step up is from version 11. I believe that Elon is throwing Tesla sales into this AI wind, and it will catch it, and that's a stock price will react. Elon will likely start to convince the market that Tesla is further ahead in AI than anyone else. On the other hand, the Tesla bus might sell 100,000 to 200,000 units a year. North America is the main market limitation. Tesla has been able to reach 20 million vehicles a year because of its capacity to compete in the low-cost market and against big automakers like Toyota and Volkswagen. For Tesla to succeed, it must provide a better vehicle with an enhanced driving experience and a more compelling value proposition. Additionally, they must provide capabilities like FSD, which let the vehicle drive itself. To sum up, Tesla has a clear path to produce 20 million cars annually, the bulk of which will be Tesla small automobiles. There has already been promise with the Model S, Model X, Model 3, and Model Y. And the company's next step is to reduce cost and improve efficiency with this next-generation compact vehicle. And he is arguably correct. As a result, a stock price will react. The market will eventually be made aware of Tesla's level of AI. For example, Ford's announcement that they would be implementing Tesla's FSD may do this. Although the market can be slow to adopt new technology, this presents an opportunity for Tesla investors to purchase more shares before the market realizes what's going on, as was the case when the Model 3 first entered mass production, and the stock price was still falling. It was cool to finally see a demo of version 12, and I look forward to seeing the progress from here. Thank you for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. For example, can you imagine a headline tomorrow that says Tesla's 4680 Cybercell is now at a run rate of 20 giga-hours a year with one of the lines? Sure, the market might react somewhat to that, but the true value is scalable would be absolutely insane.